let the dogs out. Hoo, 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 hoo. Oh, I am here with my guest, my sister Luba. Say hi, Luba.
Hello.
So, guess what we will be talking about today? Of course, dogs. Talk about like having a dog, the relationship bonds between a dog and a human, and dogs are known to be a man's best friend. So we want to talk about our dog named Sunny. He lived for 9.5 years before he passed away from acute leukemia. And he was just a really loyal, he was a golden retriever, and he was very loyal, very obedient, very well trained, and just super, super like amazing. He was a good dog, and he was just lovely. Like if you met him, like you would just fall in love because he was just like a big old polar bear because he was like a white golden retriever. I have stories that I want to share, like how I actually rescued him. And I did take veterinary assistant, so like I kind of knew how to save him this one time from eating dark chocolate. And so yeah, so let's just start off with how we first got him. One of my sister, do you want to share the story, Luba? Okay.
So it was interesting because one time Mary was at a pet store with my other sister Vera, and they came home from the pet store saying, "We want a dog so bad. We saw such cute golden retriever puppies at the pet store." And that got me thinking, "Oh, I always wanted a dog too." And then I was randomly looking through a newspaper. I like to look through ads, and I saw a breeding farm for golden retrievers had dogs for a really good price. And I was like, okay. So I said to our sisters, let's go tomorrow to this farm. I'll drive and let's go see. We never know. Maybe there'll be good puppies there. So we showed up at this farm on the next day, that Saturday, in the morning without asking our parents even if we could have a dog in the house. And of course, what do you think happened? We fell in love with puppy, of course.
So I remember like they only gave us two options to pick out the puppy, and like they only gave two puppies, like two male puppies. And so one of them was like more golden and the other one was white. So the one that was like more darker golden, he actually came like to us and approached us, and he was like more friendly and more active. And then the one in the white, like he just sat down and didn't come up to us, and he was just like wagging his little tail and he was sitting. And I chose the one. I remember I chose Sunny because I'm like, I thought he was going to be a calm and good dog. Like, I just fell in love with him. Like, honestly, it was just love at first sight. And I was just like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Do you remember like what you,
He was so small. Like you could just
oh, I
hold
have
him
like
in your
pictured
arms
him.
so
Oh my
little.
gosh, he was so little. And like,
And we
oh,
never knew he would grow up to be such a big dog.
yeah, he was a big golden retriever. He weighed like
He was very
111
tall.
11 pounds. Yeah, he was tall and big and yeah. So because like I knew a lot about dogs and stuff like that because I took veterinary assistant, I was actually in college for veterinary assistant at that time when I got him actually. So I was just like training, animal behavior and like how to train and stuff like that. So we came up with like all these training techniques. We got a kennel and we got a bell. Do you remember any of the training techniques? So do you want to say?
Yeah, the kennel we didn't really use much,
Yeah,
but
I had it just in case. So
we always thought, okay, we don't want a puppy that makes a lot of accidents in the house. So we said there has to be a way to, train him better to go to the bathroom, to go outside. So I'm not sure who came up with this. Probably Mary found this technique where you put a bell on your door, and every time you take the dog out to the bathroom, you make sure his nose touches the bell, so he hears the sound, and we open the door, put him outside, and stay with him till he goes to the bathroom, till he sniffs around, so that every time after when he actually wants to go to the bathroom, he just goes to the door, touches the bell, we hear the bell, and open the door for him. And he was so quick at learning to go to the bathroom, barely had any accidents. I don't even think he had any pee accidents. Some accidents that he had wasn't really his fault. but he was very quick, very smart.
Yeah, it probably took 2 weeks for him to learn he has to go pee outside. And we gave him a lot of praise when he would do it outside. So he would know like this is good outside. But inside, how we trained him is that he would do an accident inside. I would give him no attention, no praise. I would just throw him outside and then he would whine. Well, not like throw, like, but pick him up, throw him outside, and then he's like, he's left alone, so he knows he did a bad thing. And then the next time when he did it, he knew he did something bad. So he learned pretty quick.
I know you say it was like 2 weeks. I almost felt like in a week, I was like, he already knows to touch the bell. Like, not even.
Yeah.
It was like a couple days. He knew to touch the bell. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. Just like a baby, a puppy's not perfect, but it was very quick. I remember thinking, like, whoa, this dog is very smart.
Actually, do you remember that he actually didn't bark for a very long time, and we thought he's never
Yes.
gonna bark?
Yeah, we actually used to bark at him.
Yeah, we used to try to teach him. Yeah. And then like he like barks like, he
he
does
was like,
bark. But he has like a deep bark, like,
It was,
like, and it sounds scary. Some people got scared. Some people were like,
yeah, even
"Ugh."
as a puppy, he had a deep bark when he actually started barking. It was actually
It was
funny
really cute.
because he learned a little bit how to growl first, which I thought was funny, and only because we had a cat who would growl at him. So he probably thought that's what he's supposed to do.
And cats aren't as good as dogs, by the way. We might have a little debate here because Luba has a cat.
Okay, my
Cats
cat,
aren't
my
better,
cat
though.
is the best cat, but dogs are better in general than cats.
Oh, okay,
but
okay, we
my
agree,
cat
we
is the
agree.
best cat there ever is.
Okay, we agree. Okay. Okay, so it's the majority of people like dogs better because you can train them, you can do fun stuff with them. That's what I really liked. I took my dog actually to the pet store to go shopping, and I'd get him to choose his toys, choose his treats. I would always take him to the groomer. I mean, I took him dental cleaning. Like, I really spoiled this dog. Like, I spent all my money on this dog. That's how much I loved him. So like he was kind of like my baby. So I didn't have a baby, so I just had a fur baby.
I think he was not like more than just your baby. It was like he became your best friend, actually your best friend. Like the bond between you and Sunny was probably better like than anyone else in the family had with him. Even though like I loved him. Like obviously he would come in my room, lay on my bed, I would invite him, I would hang out with him. But you're the one who gave him his food. You're the one who took him on walks. So like when we actually lost him, I think like you felt a greater loss in that like you lost your best friend.
Yeah. And I think that one of my other sisters, she always spoiled him with treats and stuff like that. And I think like I was like thinking a lot of those treats probably don't have like good ingredients too, and she would always give him these, I don't think it was good for him. But anyways, who knows what happened. But yeah, his diet wasn't always good, so
it's actually funny because when we first got the puppy, where we got it from the farm, they told us like don't ever feed him human food because it's not good for dogs. Like feed him raw, feed him kibble, feed him this. And we were like, yes, we're never going to give him human food. And like, if you think about it, we were bringing this puppy into a house full of people. So of course, this puppy was going to get human food. And puppies are going to smell things that they like, and they're going to be begging. And when you see that cute little face begging you for food, like he was getting human food. So that went away very fast.
Yeah, and he loved human food more than kibble and stuff like that. I think
any dog.
I don't know. It's like dry cereal you're eating. You need like something wet, something real. Anyways, I did want to share about. Do you remember the time when he ate dark chocolate?
Yes.
Okay.
We thought he was gonna die.
So I'm gonna share my point of view, and so it was like 12 a.m. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember? Okay, so one of my sister comes up and she wakes me up and she's like, supposedly in the emergency, like the animal emergency, they say like 12 a.m. is the time when the most emergencies come in. So it's interesting because it's actually true. So anyways, my one sister comes in and she goes, or our one sister. So one of the sister comes in and she's like, Mary, Sonny ate the whole box of dark chocolate. It was after 8 dark chocolate mint ones, like mint and
with
dark
wrappers.
Chocolate. Yeah, with the wrappers. So and I'm like, what do you mean? Like he ate dark chocolate? So she showed me the box. So like he tore the box, he consumed all the wrappers and the chocolate. Like, what the heck? How does he even like chocolate? Like,
how do you even know to eat it?
Yeah, it's like ew. Like with the wrapper, like how? Anyways. So he was still young. He was like, well, how old was he? Like maybe 1 year
I
only.
think 1 year.
Yeah. And so he was still like liking to chew things if things were left on the ground. Like sometimes he was selective. He was selective with certain things. It was
Leather.
funny. Yeah. It was funny because he was selective with what he chewed. Like he wasn't a big chewer because he got a lot of exercise and stuff. That I took him out and I played with him a lot. So he was he got a lot of activity. And but anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, right? I'm like, he's gonna die. It's dark chocolate. So he's laying there and he looks bloated, like his belly. So I think it was just maybe 15 minutes or something. How long do you think? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't think it was that long because he was in her room and then she went in there and then right away she would come out and she's like, oh my gosh, I had this box on the ground of chocolate and it's destroyed.
Yeah. So I think it was like 15 minutes or something like that. So because I took veterinary assistant and so I had this like first aid dog book. And so one of them was to use hydrogen peroxide to induce vomiting. So he needed to be induced vomiting. And I was like, I ain't going to the emergency at this time, you know? And so I knew how expensive it is to go to the emergency too. So anyways, I kind of just looked up how much he needs hydrogen peroxide. So I needed, because it's per body weight. So I gave him like through syringe in his mouth, and like I needed to give more and he wasn't throwing up. And then, do you remember?
Yeah, I remember it was like scary. We thought we'd have to take him to like the emergency and
He
we were
wasn't,
like, it's gonna be so expensive. But then we were like scared for him. So in a way we were knowing it was gonna be expensive, but I don't remember really
but all they were
like
going to do
saying,
is induce vomiting.
yeah.
That's really cheap
So
actually.
we said, no,
So,
we have to do it here. Yeah.
So, so I was just giving him hydrogen peroxide and he wasn't throwing up yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need more. Like, I don't want to kill this dog, with hydrogen peroxide. So he finally started throwing up and it was the grossest thing in the world because it smelled like puke and it was chocolate mint.
Chocolate wrappers. Like you
Yeah.
could actually see the pieces.
And like my sister, she
don't know if
gave
we
me
should-
like a mask
kinda
because it
gross
was
to talk
stinking so bad. I was like, I put on a mask and I was just like cleaning his puke. And of course, he's my dog, so I had to clean it.
But Mary saved him.
So, but I was like, good boy, good boy. We were all like, good boy. Like, how many of us were there? I don't know.
I think all of us woke up.
We're just all like, oh, thank God he's gonna live, and he threw up all that garbage.
Because we were all worried about him. Like
Yeah.
we already had him for about a year, so we were attached to him.
Mhm.
So for him to do something, that was the first time ever that something was serious happening,
Yeah.
And we were all like, no, he has to be okay. He has to be okay. And, Mary did that. Mary was able to save his life, and he just went on like nothing had happened.
Yeah, and I think like after that we made sure we didn't leave any like chocolate boxes on the ground or anything like that.
And like when kids came into our family after that, nieces and nephews, we were like, don't give chocolate, don't give chocolate all the time. I remember
But you know what?
everybody
He
saying.
did have like milk chocolate, sometimes like the ice cream, and I think it was like certain.
It was very
dessert.
little,
But
though.
yeah, I heard it's okay because it's per body weight too. So if it's a
It wasn't a
dog-
whole box
Yeah.
of dark chocolate.
yeah, especially dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is the worst. Like anything really dark chocolate. So that's like one of the worst.
So my cat just came in. I don't know if you heard that meow. She came into the room. I guess she heard us talking about Sunny because she really loves Sunny too. And she loved to lay beside him. She loved to play with him when she came into his life. But she only was in his life for only a few years.
So I'm going to share a little story another time how I saved my dog. So it's kind of like, okay, I think I won't say how it happened because, well, I like how he got in that position. That's what I think, like one of my biggest mistakes. So anyways, so I had a neighbor at that time. We had a neighbor at that time and they had a pool and they covered the pool with like a what do you call that? What do you call that?
Pool cover.
Pool cover. Okay. So the pool was covered with a pool cover and
Like a tarp.
Okay, so tarp, whatever you call it. And so the door was open to my neighbors, whatever, their backyard. My dog went there. Don't ask why he's there. And then I go after him. Anyways, so so he thought it was actually a ground. So he didn't see that it was water, and he didn't know
He
it was
never
a swimming
saw a
pool.
pool
Like he never
before.
saw a swimming pool before. And I thought like he's not gonna step on it or whatever, So anyways, next thing you know, like he actually stepped on it, like, and he went down under the water, right? And I mean there's that cover, so like good thing he was wearing a collar, and I, actually like was shocked that he fell in, and then I yanked him out and grabbed his collar, and like I saved him. And then because even there was no like, I don't know, I just yanked him out somehow, like it was instant like response, like his reaction. And after that, which it's interesting because after that he was just following me around that whole day, like sticking by my side, and I was like, Sonny, like I saved you, I saved you. And he's just by me, walking everywhere I go, he's just following me. It's like he's just saying thank you, like you saved my life, because he was so scared after that happened. Like he was like shaking fear. He's like, how the heck did I, like, how he thought it was like land, imagine. That must have been terrifying for him. But I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you were there or
I
not.
was not. I just remember you coming
um,
back and saying, like, I just
the
saved my
story.
dog in the water. And we're like, why was he there? How was he there? How did
I'm
you
like,
pull
don't
him
ask.
out? We're like, how did you not get wet? How did you not fall in? Like, it was so confusing. You're like, I don't know how I pulled him out. I just like pulled him out
I
and got him.
know,
And
just
then
somehow like I
and it
pulled him
was so
out.
fast. It was so fast
Yeah,
because you were gone like, I don't know, not even 5 minutes or something. All of a sudden you're like saying you rescued him, And we're
yeah.
like, what happened to him?
Yeah, but I know like he was grateful. Like he was just like, I saved his life. So it would be nice to hear like other people's story of their dog, and like, their relationship with their dog, or like cute stories of rescues or something. And because I just love hearing those stories, and I love dogs and stuff. And I am looking for another dog. Like I want a dog. I miss having a dog. I think they're good emotional support pets. And
And a great excuse to exercise because you have to take the dog for a
yeah,
walk. So then it
yeah.
makes you walk as well.
And I definitely miss that walking exercise buddy. I used to ride my dog on a bike even, and when he was younger, had so much energy, so he would burn off his energy that way. And
I think it's so hard though to like even like for me think about having another dog because I feel like we got spoiled with such a good
yeah,
dog. Like he was such a loyal dog. Like I don't like just like any dog, they could be naughty sometimes,
mm-hmm,
but he was always so good and like so loyal to us and so trusting of us. Like I remember when we would go to a dog park, for example, or go for a walk, and if you let him off the leash, he was always close to us.
mm-hmm,
Like he would not run
yeah,
off. Some dogs, you let them loose, all of a sudden they're running off and you have to call them back or this.
mm-hmm,
He was always near us, or he would be looking back, make sure we're near. Like I remember I would take a walk with Mary sometimes and he would be like looking back, you guys
yeah,
close to me? You guys close to me still? Like you're right there. And if you like hide or something, he would stop and look for you.
mm-hmm,
Like we used to do these little like tricks. We're like, oh, go hide behind the tree. He would notice like right away that someone's gone and he would go looking for them. And you'd be like,
yeah,
go find them, go find them. Like Mary was was teaching him near the end there, like to find
yeah,
someone and to look for someone. And he was like very smart, even when he was older. I know I have a story that he was, I think, 8 years old
mm-hmm,
already. And I was like, they say you can't teach an old
mm-hmm,
dog new tricks.
yeah,
I'm going to teach him a new trick. And I'm like, I'm going to teach him high five.
oh yeah, yeah,
He did like shake the paw, always from a
mm-hmm,
puppy. And high five is a little bit different. You have to actually make him slap your hand up. And it was more like high five, right? And he got it like very fast. And I would do it. And I taught him also to stay. Like I would give him a treat. I would show him a treat and I would tell him to sit and stay. And I would put the treat like, maybe a foot away from him that he could easily take it.
mm-hmm,
But because I told him to stay, he would just sit there and stare at me. He wouldn't look at that treat. He would stare at me till I tell him come. And then he would
mm-hmm,
get it. Like, and
yeah,
I would show everybody and they would be like, oh, wow. How is he listening? That treat is like tempting right in front of him. And it could be his favorite treat, anything. He would just sit and wait till you would say come.
yeah.
Like he was very
And
smart,
we
very good.
all like, I also taught him how to like twirl, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so like he would twirl. It
It was
was
like
kind of like a
dancing.
dancing for him, and that was a new trick when he was older too.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he definitely was still like teachable at older age. I think that it's the human that thinks that they can't learn, then
Mhm.
that is when the people say that the dog you can't learn an old dog teach an old dog tricks. But dogs are able, just as people are able, especially at old age too. So, and sometimes it's good for their mental stimulation and stuff. So, for their mind. Anyway, Sunny, even though he like fell in that pool that one time, he always liked swimming and stuff. He was golden retrievers are I think are known to like swimming and
We actually, when we got him as a puppy, they were talking about like his family, and they were saying
mm,
that his
oh, I remember.
grandpa was actually one of like the best
They said his
divers.
grandpa I think was like 16 years old, right?
Yeah, he lived
So
to 17 years
I
old.
expected him to live
Yeah,
long. Like
yeah.
I'm kind of sad that he died so young, and I was just like, God, why did you let him die, so young?
Mm-hmm. For sure, because they said his grandpa was like 17 years old, and he was like one of the best divers. So he said probably Sonny, like, in his family, they were all good divers, so they would be good swimmers.
Hmm. So I wanted to also share another story, like how my dog, he was actually in one of my car accidents one time, and so this was like 2013 or something. What year was it? So it was a while ago, but he was in the back of the car, and he somehow like flew out, and
Because the
I got
trunk opened.
yeah, I think it was a trunk open because that's the only way that he flew out because there's no window broken or anything like that. But it was like an SUV and the seats were down, and so that's the only way he would have been able to fall out because I got rear-ended, and because the accident was like outside of my house, pretty much
Right
rear-ended.
on the corner, yeah.
Yeah, and, so he somehow flew out, so, like, I remember the car accident happened, and I went to open the door to get my dog, and he's gone. I was like, "Sonny, Sonny!" I thought he was, like, in between the seats. It was so scary. But, like and then they're like and I'm like, "Where's my dog?" And then, like, it was, like, high school girls, that were in the car that the other car that hit me anyways, but so they were like, "Is that your dog?" And so Sunny was right outside the front,
He went right to
door,
the
right
house,
to the
our
house, the front
house.
door, and he was waiting to get inside the house. And like I ran to him, and I'm like, "Sunny, are you okay?" And like he was not bleeding, nothing. He was not injured. So I'm like, "Thank God." And it's just like okay, but like it was weird. Like I want to know how he like came out of the car. So that was a little interesting story how my dog experienced a car accident, and thank God it wasn't somewhere like on a highway or a busy street or something like that. Man, that would
Yeah, it
have
was right
been.
outside the house, so he could just go to the house.
I even bought like a dog seatbelt actually later on, but I remember it was too small and they didn't have big size for big dogs, so which didn't, I guess
I think that
that didn't
that was a
work.
big problem that happened after. I remember you even were trying to find a raincoat for Sunny, and like
Yeah, he
Sunny
was
was
too
too
big.
big. He was such a big dog, like tall and wide and
Couldn't find
big.
his
I
size.
mean,
Yeah.
and yeah, near the end he was a little bit overweight, but like we loved him having a big, huge dog. It was no problem for us.
Yeah, he could cuddle and hug him and stuff. So I love that, like, because when you're big, and soft and furry and
It was actually funny because when he was a puppy, he used to love sitting in our laps. And even when he got bigger,
oh
he would
yeah,
still
and he was
randomly
big.
go and sit in our laps. And he's like such a big dog. And it was actually interesting to see that once we had like nieces and nephews in the picture, and then we would like give them attention, he actually would go in between and like sit in our laps so that we would give him attention. And he's like saying, "No, I'm the baby in the family. Like, don't pay attention to them, pay attention to me."
Yeah. So I want to share like 2019 how my dog like before he got acute leukemia, right? So he actually had this lump that like kept growing pretty quick, and it was he got in the summertime he had surgical removal of it, and so like he was fine, right? He had blood tests and stuff like that, and the vet said he was overweight, so I put him on a diet, and he wasn't like this was summer, right? This was June that he got this surgery. His lump was removed, and then I started this diet, and I remember it was September, or no, 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 it was probably August. So it was August. It might have been September, like early September.
I think it was September.
Yeah, so it might have been September when I went into the vet, so not an appointment, but it was just to get him weighed. And I remember, like, he was just, like, I noticed, like, he kind of puked a few times, and he wasn't really hungry. He was more like he wasn't as active, and I'm like, "Come on, Sonny, you have to exercise," like, kinda, like, push him to go for a walk, and I felt like he was just like, I'm like, "Maybe he's just getting old," I didn't think, like, he was sick. So anyway, so I went to the vet and got him weighed, and I'm like, "He dropped, like, 20 pounds." And so I asked the lady, because I just had a feeling like it was God telling me, like, something's wrong. Go ask the lady that, this is not normal for him to drop this much weight. So I just had this feeling, like, I knew something's wrong. So I tell her, and she's like, "Oh, no, that's not normal." And then, I mentioned that, like, he hasn't been, like, eating that much, but it
He
depends
didn't
what
like
food.
the diet food too, so I
Yeah,
thought it was because of that. Like when
yeah,
you were saying he's not eating, because he would still eat human food.
yeah. So
He
it's
would
just
still
like,
gobble that up.
so that's what we didn't really like. There weren't a lot of signs. But anyways, he got a blood drawn. The vet took some blood, and then I got bad news from that. And in a week, I had an appointment to see the oncologist, and it was like, there's no hope. It's acute leukemia. It's just bone marrow cancer, and it's acute, so it's fast acting. And he was still like okay,
Yeah.
but within 2 weeks, he just started going downhill.
Like every day was worse and worse. Like in a way, like it was hard to see it.
Yeah, so he ran to, like, he was such a good dog. He still went to the bathroom outside, and he would fall over.
He
He would
would have a
walk
hard
and
time
fall
walking.
over, and he would
Yeah.
fall on the stairs. He would injure himself often, and wasn't eating, so and he wasn't moving, and so it was really hard watching him suffer. So I knew, because he was a big dog, that I had to put him down before, it was just like,
Because we couldn't like we were worrying, what if he, doesn't stops walking completely, and what are we gonna do with his body, or how are we
yeah.
gonna
So that was one
carry
of the
him?
fear, and so I knew, like, and of course, putting down a dog is really expensive. Like, you don't want to do that unless it's the last. It's a big decision to decide, right? It's like, why am I gonna waste money to kill my dog? So I remember I was just like, this was a really hard decision, because I'm like, I'm killing my dog. And I knew, like, okay, this is the best thing to do, but I'm like, okay, who's gonna be there with him, because I'm not going to allow the vet to put a needle in to kill my dog. So I can't see this. So I knew that. And I remember when we carried him to the vet, like,
We had to take him to the car first,
yeah.
and like
So he wasn't
it
walking,
was because he was always just laying, and we would try to feed him. I would even hand feed him because we were
and he didn't
thinking,
want anything. I
we
remember.
thought like maybe we'll make him better. We were trying these like natural things that would try to help him, and he was just every day was getting worse. And like when I really realized that he was not going to get better, that he was going to die, like, and we do have to put him down. Like I know, Mary, you're calling it killing, and I
Yeah,
always
that's
thought
how
of
I
it
saw
as
it.
killing too, but then I'm like, you know what, he is suffering. Like you could see on his face that he was in pain. I think, Mary, you actually had to end up giving him like what is it that you can give dogs, aspirin or something,
Oh yeah, I gave him pain
because he
meds.
was
Yeah, you can
in
give him
so much
aspirin.
pain, he could not move. And, like, when you see that, you're thinking, "Okay, this is the time when you have to put him down." And, like, even before we took him, I think this is good to mention, we told all the family.
Mhm.
We said, like, "Anyone who wants to say goodbye
Yeah, they
can
all
come."
came
And
to
you
visit
know,
him.
and
He
it
got
was
a lot of
actually
visitors.
very surprising because the last, let's say, like, 2 days, I think, because we actually decided, I think, okay, Mary had a vet appointment on Saturday, and we weren't talking about putting him down on Saturday. It was just a vet appointment. I think you were just supposed to have, like, he was just supposed to, I don't know, it was supposed to be just an appointment, right? And that they were supposed to do a checkup or something like that. But then you called them, I think, on Thursday and said, I think I'm going to be putting him down. Because I remember you were not deciding it yet, unless you were thinking it, but I didn't think you were thinking it.
Well,
You
there
know?
was nothing that could be done, so that was the
Because I
thing.
feel like that week especially, it became even worse.
I even
Like, he didn't
called
even
I
take a
tried
walk.
everything. I prayed to God, I remember, and I knew, like, in God just saying, like, "It's his time to go, it's his time to go, like, I'm not gonna heal him." And so I was just like, "No, no, I'm gonna try some." So I was calling around vets, like, I went to see an oncologist, that cost me, like, $700 just for, like, a blood draw
And
I
then what
took.
they said was, like, what, 30% chance it could work, but you have to go, like, every week
Yeah, and so it's
or
like,
something?
and they're like, "It's just very acute, so it's
Yeah,
most
yeah.
likely, like, it's not gonna
It's
do
not gonna
anything."
do anything, yeah, that he's gonna die even if you try to help him, you know?
'Cause it's, like, in his blood and it's showing that it's super serious, like, this cancer is bad. That's what,
Yeah.
like, they saw. So anyways, so we took him to the vet. He was actually willing to walk on his own. So we used a blanket to the car,
Yeah, I don't know how
but
I don't believe
so
we
we used a
actually carried
blanket
him
to the
like that, yes.
car, but in the car when we drove to the vet, he was actually
He
wanting
was
to walk on
so
his own to the vet
happy.
because he was just such a happy dog.
He was so happy to go for a car ride, like, even
Yeah.
that was his last day,
Even
he
though
was
he was
so
just
excited,
like
he sat up.
pretty much
I was
dead.
sitting in the back with him, and he actually sat up, his tail was wagging, and, like, he would look out the window. Even my mom, I remember, like, she helped us, open the car door so we could carry him in,
Yeah.
and she even said, "Oh
I
my
think she
goodness,
made a
look
video of
how
this,
happy he
right?
is."
She made a
Yeah,
video.
which was, like, not a very good video,
It's
but
yeah.
but she was like, "Look how happy he is." He sat up, like, 'cause he was, like, not
Mhm.
even able to move at all, like, he couldn't even move, we had to carry him on a blanket to the car, like, 'cause he couldn't walk, couldn't move, but he got this, like, burst of energy, like, last burst of energy in the car, getting so excited to go for a car ride because he loved car rides, like, Mary
Mhm.
Mary knows this for sure, she always went on car rides with him and took him to lake and places, and he loved
Yeah.
car rides.
Mhm.
And he got so excited about the car ride that it gave him this energy that when we actually got to the vet, he walked on his own
Yeah.
feet. Like, 'cause we were like, "Man, how are we gonna get him
Mhm.
out of the car? How are we gonna get him to the vet?" And he
So
actually walked. Like, he was a little very unsteady. I kinda had to, like, make sure he doesn't fall over.
mhm.
Um,
But anyways, we brought him in, whatever, to the room, and then, I said goodbye, and Luba was there, so I was like I remember I was outside of the waiting room, and I was just like God's peace was just filling me, and I was like, "I'm not crying, and I don't know if I can't." Like, I just felt like God was just giving me peace, and that I was just like I just felt like, "It's okay." Like, it's okay to let go, you know? And it's like, it's for you to move on. And I remember like peace, but I remember I just wanted to be quiet. I remember after that, I was like, can I just be quiet? Can you just be quiet? Because I couldn't. And I was like, I can't watch them killing him. I can't. So I remember I left the room. Luba was there. And so then you want to share this sad story because I couldn't see it. Like I couldn't. Like
yeah.
even though I wanted to be there for him, I'm like somebody has to be there, but I can't. I can't watch
Yeah,
him
'cause
die.
I know when Mary was saying she's gonna take him and,
Like, I wanna see him alive, not dead, you know? That was just me, how I
yeah, for sure. I remember telling her, "Well, Mary, I'm gonna go for sure, because if you're not gonna like, somebody has to be with him. Like, there's no way you're gonna put a dog down." And like, even now, just thinking about it, I'm getting very emotional about it. Um, so I knew that I would be there with him like till his last breath, you know, and it was very sad to see because like when Mary left, he actually like she left the room, right? And he thought he's leaving too. So like he stood up. He thought
Mm.
he's going and he was like sniffing at the door. And then, he didn't have enough energy, so he laid back down. And I was just sitting beside him, and I know like the vet comes in. She explains what she's gonna do, and like, and it's weird because they made it sound very scary, like it's gonna be very scary.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it is for some. So I was like, oh my goodness,
And by
like
the
I
way,
don't
I feel
know.
like that I might be more normal, but actually I've seen a lot of, like, animals being put down because I used to be a
It's
veterinary
probably why she
assistant.
didn't want to be there.
So, it's just like, it's my dog, I'm not
See
gonna
it,
allow
yeah.
this, I'm not gonna allow them to kill my dog, so but I'm actually pretty, like, I had experience in the
Yeah.
past, so I think that's why it was
Mm,
hard in the beginning when I first animal I saw,
yeah.
actually, it was really hard. It was really,
Well,
like
like, they were warning me, what things could happen, how it could be scary, and I was like, "Oh, man," and I'm here, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna be like." Well, obviously, I have to be with him, I was petting him, and, it was really weird because, like, I was expecting it to be really bad, or I was expecting, him to, react in a way like he's dying, or I don't know what I was expecting, but I expected to be bad. But it was very strange because being in that room, even though it was so emotional because I was like, I know what's happening when as they're putting first they were putting like some kind of saline needle or something in for, and when they were actually putting it in, Sonny laid his head down on my leg because I was like right beside him. And, he laid his head down and he closed his eyes. So I was petting him, and then they're like, okay, now we're putting in the other needle. And I'm just petting him, petting him. And, I'm all teared up. And all of a sudden the vets are like pulling out the thing to check his heartbeat. And then they're like, he's gone. And I was like,
Mm,
what? He's gone? I mean, it was weird because I was expecting it to be so bad, but it was so peaceful and so calm. And it's like he knew what was happening before it even happened.
mhm,
He already had closed his eyes. So when he was laying there, his eyes were closed.
mhm,
It's like he already went to sleep naturally himself, decided that he was going to go to sleep. For me, I think it helped after to see that
it was
it's almost like
peaceful.
he
It was very peaceful.
decided it is time.
Yeah, and it was
Not like we're forcing
well,
it on him.
so here's the thing, like, I actually was okay for, like, a few days after his death, so but I was always felt like he's just around the house laying, like, he's just laying somewhere, And I
Yeah.
remember, like, a few times it would hit me and I'd, like, cry or whatever,
I would seriously
and
hear his walking around the
yeah,
house.
it's
Even our
crazy.
mom said
I hear
she would
Sonny. It's
hear
like, "Where's
him.
Sonny?" And, so, yeah, I miss that greeting, at the door when I come
Yeah.
home and stuff, like, that's one thing that I
Took a
always
long time
missed.
to get used to that, yeah.
But so there was one time, actually, I got to see him in a dream, and it was just like, dreams are very emotional and real, and I think, like, God allowed me to see this dream just so that I let go of him. And, so it was, like, a few months, I think, after, and so I remember in the dream, like I went down these stairs, and Sonny was there sitting, with how he usually sits, and he's so obedient and good, and so he was sitting there, and I ran up to him. I ran up to him. It's usually he runs up to me and greets me. It was like me, like visiting him, and I got to see him, And I remember I ran up to him like Sonny, and I was just give him that big hug that I would always give, and I just felt like he wasn't wanting to see me or something. It was just so weird. It was like I went to say goodbye and he's happy and he's in a good place. And that's what I felt. And I was just like, I'm ready to let go. And after that, I was just like, I never cried after that. I never cried. And I'm just like, it's okay. He's gone and he's in a better place. Which like God gave me like comfort and this peace and just knowing that, you know what? It's okay. Cause like it's like if you put God first and everything, God will provide with you, like I know that God gave me this beautiful dog in my life. And I was just like, even though I was like, God, why did he have to live so short? It's not fair. Other dogs can live longer, It's like, why could he live longer? But yeah, anyway, so it's kind of we're gonna just wrap it up everything. So I'm glad that Luba could do this podcast or episode with me. I think it's like episode 6.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for agreeing to come on. And so yeah, Luba, I forgot to do an intro to her, like
It's
to her.
okay.
Yeah, just kind of I always make an intro and I kind of like so like Luba, she definitely helps me edit a lot of my books and stuff like that, and she's also does kids what do you call it? Kids mentoring. Not
What?
mentoring.
I'm
Like
Sunday school teacher, maybe you
yeah,
could
you're a
say?
Sunday school teacher and you also
Tutor.
like tutor. That's the word that I'm looking for. So she does tutoring.
Well,
Um
nieces and nephews.
yeah, but there's a lot of nieces and nephews. Um so yeah, and other kids too. So yeah, I wanted to end this. Anyone like it would be nice to hear from you if you want to write to me. My email is movingmary2020 at outlook.com. So like no G at the moving, and 2020 is they say 2020 vision, so it's kind of a good year, isn't it? Is it a
And if
good
you're
year?
thinking about getting a dog, you won't regret it.
Yeah, if even if you want to write to me, because I used to be a veterinary assistant. I took college for veterinary assistant, and if you have a dog to give to me, oh my gosh, I will love
She wants
you.
a free
If you
one.
have a good dog that just, yeah, I would love you. Like I would love a dog, but I don't like. It's scary to find a dog like a good dog because when you had a good dog, and then, yeah, but I love dogs and I love doing the training and I love the work and yeah, and there's just such a blessing just thank God for animals. God created animals for us. So, yeah, that is all.